This week, as we studied more about the colonization, I chose to study 2 additional resources along with the with the textbook within the Minnesota Historical Society and National Geographic. And I wanted to discuss a little bit more about the differences that we see within some colonies that colonized the Americas and the influence they had on the region and the relationship that they had with the indigenous people. As word spread of the New World and its grand opportunities for riches and change, many people and countries voyaged to the Americas to colonize its many lands. This country offered new opportunities to advance trade as they searched to obtain gold, furs, and other valuable resources that were encountered on this land. Many other groups sought to establish religious freedom as well, seeking to escape from a land that was under religious rule, specifically by certain Catholic organizations. Certain groups decided to break away from these groups to practice their religion in different ways. As these people settled in this new land, they faced conflict with its indigenous inhabitants. Learning to cohabitate with the natives was a feat that often led to conflict. We can see 2 drastic examples of how this was done in the French colonization compared to the Spanish colonization. As Spain sought to colonize regions of the Americas, they chose to interact with the native people by ways of attempting to convert them to Catholic practices. While some indigenous persons were converted, many were forced into this Spanish religion. Spanish colonizers began to punish native converts to eradicate any practice contrary to that of the Catholic Church. They would also force them to talk, act, and dress like Spaniards. Beyond these attempts to change the natives to adopt these Spanish practices, they began to force them to perform labor for them. They demanded that they build churches, provide the mission with food, and assist in their efforts for trade. While intentions to bring religion to the native people may have seemed as good, it often brought conflict and yielded no long-lasting alliance with them. Dutch and French colonists, on the other hand, had different tactics in their efforts to yield success in the New World. Unlike the Spaniards, the Dutch and French colonists had no interest in forcing religion to the indigenous people. As they settled in their new territory, they sought to create more union with their new neighboring people. As they established critical relations with local tribes, they saw it as necessary to purchase lands from them rather than taking that land through means of conquest. These colonists established a successful fur trade through their great relations with the tribes in that region. Natives would even assist in their efforts in hunting beavers for their skins. These tribes would also receive European goods in return. Many of these colonizers were incorporated into indigenous society through marriage and rituals that created pacts between these 2 groups. These 2 groups became greatly integrated as their cultures began to blend and diversify, much different from the results of Spanish colonizers. And we can see that these 2 differences worked as a standard for other colonies that went as they faced these conflicts. They faced many similar situations and always came across conflict in their efforts to colonize this new land.